In 1985, a teenager heading out to meet a friend had one plan, and only one plan. The usual spot, same time as always. No way to confirm it. No way to text running late. No way to pin a location on a map or send a quick update if something changed. If your friend didn't show up, you simply waited. Or you didn't, and you often never found out why. An entire generation ran their whole social life on trust, timing, and a system of signals we've almost completely forgotten existed. Today, we're looking at the 10 codes and signals people relied on before a phone lived in every single pocket. Item number 1, the porch light signal. Long before anyone could send a quick text saying "I'm home safe," families developed their own quiet, wordless system using nothing more than a single light switch. A porch light left on could mean "I'm still out. Don't worry." Turned off, it might signal "I'm home. Everyone can finally relax." For couples, a specific light left on in a particular window sometimes served as a pre-arranged signal meaning "come in," or, just as often, "not tonight." It was a small, almost invisible piece of technology, repurposed entirely through shared understanding between the people who used it. No app, no notification, just a warm glow in a window that carried real meaning to the one person who knew what it meant. Item number 2, busy signal etiquette. For many households, especially in rural areas, a single telephone line was often shared between multiple families on what was known as a party line. This meant an entire unwritten code of conduct governed how people used the phone at all. You learned to recognize the specific clicking sound of someone else quietly picking up mid-conversation. You waited your turn, sometimes for what felt like an agonizingly long time, if a neighbor was in the middle of a lengthy call, and if you got a busy signal calling someone directly. That flat, repetitive tone was the entire message. No voicemail, no missed call notification, just silence, and the understanding that you'd have to try again later, hoping the timing eventually lined up. Item number 3, answering machine codes. Once answering machines became common in the 1970s and 80s, an entirely new, quietly clever skill emerged, leaving a message vague enough that a nosy parent, sibling, or roommate listening to the tape wouldn't fully understand what was really being said. A message like "just checking on that thing we talked about" could mean almost anything to an outsider, while carrying a very specific, previously agreed upon meaning to the intended listener. Teenagers in particular became remarkably skilled at this kind of coded phrasing, effectively hiding messages in plain sight, decades before anyone had ever heard the word encryption. Item number 4, CB radio slang. Citizens Band Radio created an entire shared vocabulary among truckers and everyday citizens alike, communicating across open, shared channels using colorful, coded language built for speed and clarity. 10-4 meant message received and understood. Smokey was a warning about a nearby police officer. Breaker was the polite way of asking to interrupt an ongoing conversation and join the channel. For long-haul truckers especially, this coded language wasn't just practical, it created a genuine sense of community across the open road, a network of strangers looking out for one another using a shared code that, to an outsider, sounded almost like an entirely different language. Item number 5, the ring and hang-up signal. Long-distance calls could be expensive in this era, often charged by the minute. So families and couples developed their own clever workaround, calling a specific number and letting it ring exactly twice, then hanging up before anyone answered, could mean something entirely specific and prearranged. "I made it home safely," or "call me back when you get a chance," or simply, "I'm thinking of you." It cost nothing, since the call was never actually answered or connected, and it required both people to already understand the code beforehand. It was a quiet, almost elegant solution to a very real problem, communicating something meaningful without spending a single cent, decades before anyone imagined a free text message. Item number 6, note passing and drop points. Long before anyone could send a quick private message from across town, people relied on a surprisingly reliable low-tech system, leaving a note in a specific, previously agreed upon hiding spot. Sometimes it was tucked inside a mailbox after the mail had already been collected. Sometimes it was slipped beneath a particular rock in a backyard, or folded carefully inside a school locker. This required real trust and a shared understanding between two people, since there was no confirmation the note had even been found until the response, if there was one, eventually appeared in that same hidden spot. For many teenagers especially, A specific drop point became something close to a private, physical mailbox that only 2 people ever knew existed. Item number 7. Pager codes. Before texting existed on mobile phones, pagers created their own entire numeric shorthand language, born out of the simple limitation that a pager could only display numbers, never letters. The number sequence 143 became a widely understood way of saying I love you, each digit representing the number of letters in each word. 911 signaled a genuine emergency, borrowed directly from the well-known emergency phone number. Entire informal code lists circulated among teenagers and co-workers alike, turning a simple string of digits into a surprisingly expressive, even affectionate, form of communication. It's a small but genuinely clever piece of language history, invented almost entirely out of necessity, that simply vanished once real text messaging finally arrived. Item number 8. Meeting point contingency planning. Because there was no way to adjust plans once you'd already left the house, people developed the habit of thoroughly planning for what might go wrong before it ever had the chance to. If a friend didn't show up at the agreed meeting spot within a certain amount of time, you had already agreed in advance on exactly what to do next. Wait an additional 15 minutes, try the next closest meeting spot, or simply head home and try again the following day. This kind of careful, forward-thinking planning is something largely lost today, in a world where a quick text can adjust nearly any plan in real time. At the time, though it was simply considered basic common sense, a small skill nearly everyone quietly developed out of necessity. Item number 9. Whistle and knock signals. Among neighbors, siblings, and close friends, a specific whistle tune or knock pattern often served as an entire wordless message, instantly recognizable to the intended listener. A particular knock rhythm on a bedroom window might mean "come outside, it's me," while a distinct 3-note whistle carried across a backyard could simply mean "dinner's ready," or "meet me by the fence." These signals were often passed down within families or invented spontaneously between close friends, requiring no explanation once they'd been established. A parent calling children in for dinner with a specific whistle across an entire neighborhood was such a common sound in this era that many people today can still recall the exact tune decades later, even if they haven't heard it since childhood. Item number 10. The classified personal ads code. Newspapers once served as a surprisingly effective, if remarkably slow, public messaging system. Personal ad sections allowed people to place short, sometimes deliberately coded messages intended for one specific reader, while remaining largely unintelligible to anyone else casually flipping through the page. Someone might place a small ad using a familiar nickname or a private reference only the intended recipient would recognize. A way of communicating across distance or maintaining a level of privacy in an otherwise fully public space. It required real patience, since a message placed one day might not even be read until the following morning's edition arrived. A pace of communication that feels almost unimaginable today. So what finally changed all of this? It happened in stages. Pagers, throughout the 1980s, offered the very first real taste of instant remote contact. A small but genuinely significant shift for anyone who'd grown up relying entirely on porch lights and prearranged knock patterns. Then, through the mid to late 1990s, cell phones began appearing in more and more pockets and purses, making these older systems increasingly unnecessary almost overnight. By the early 2000s, text messaging finished the transition completely, offering instant, private, endlessly flexible communication that made an entire generation's worth of clever, patient, carefully coded systems quietly disappear within just a few short years. Looking back, these systems required something today's instant communication rarely does: real trust, genuine patience, and a surprising amount of forward planning. There was no way to simply say, running 5 minutes late. You either showed up on time, or you'd already agreed in advance on exactly what would happen if you didn't. It's a quiet reminder of just how differently an entire generation learned to stay connected, relying not on notifications and read receipts, but on a shared understanding between people who knew each other well enough to communicate almost entirely without words. Which of these do you remember using yourself? Did your parents ever explain a signal system to you? A specific knock, a porch light code, a pager number only you and a friend understood? Tell us in the comments below. We'd love to hear it. And if you enjoyed this look back, you'll want to see this next one, just as unforgettable, waiting right here.